participants having full attendance. Third point about the session code. For filling the feedback form, you would require a session code which will be announced twice randomly during the session. So all are requested to kindly pay attention during the conduct of the session. Fourth point, also a lot of participants are found sharing their screen. It is requested to all those participants to not share your screen with the speaker while the speaker is presenting his PPT. And finally, the fourth point, we request you all to kindly mute yourself for hassle-free conduct of the session. Now, I request Dr. Vijay Kumar Sharma to formally introduce the speaker for the session. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, all. I am Dr. Vijay Sharma from Sri Mata Vaishno Devi University, Katra, and on behalf of coordinating team, I thank to our resource person, Dr. Arun Kumar, for accepting our invitation and is available on second day first session of this short-term course on a short notice. It's my honor to introduce our third speaker, who is going to talk to us about journey from idea to product, role of marketing. Dr. Arun Kumar is assistant professor in the area of marketing in Department of Management at ABB IIITM Gwalior since January 2019. His primary area of interest in teaching and research are customer relationship management, consumer behavior, service quality, and business excellence. Prior to joining ABB IIIT Gwalior, he has served for more than half a decade at Department of Management, BITS Planning Campus as assistant professor. He has also served in financial services years at managerial level. He has published more than 30 research papers in various journals and conferences of national and international repute. He has also completed 2 research projects funded by ICSSR. He also holds AIMA accredited management teacher certification in marketing. He has also been awarded as an outstanding management researcher by AIMS International. He is also serving as a reviewer of the journals of international repute from the publishers such as Emerald, Taylor and Francis, and In the Science. Now, I would like to request Dr. Arun Kumar, please share your experience with the focus of journey from idea to product. Thank you. Dr. Arun Kumar, please.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay. Good morning to one and all present in this particular session. My name is Dr. Arun Kumar. I am assistant professor at ABB IIIT Gwalior. And in today's session, my voice is clear. My voice is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay, thank you. So in today's session, we are just going to start how you move on from an idea to product. And the main theme that I am going to focus on in this particular session is the marketing aspect. So the technical aspect, all of you are aware, what kind of technicalities which are involved in any kind of idea that you are going to come up with. And then majorly, as that majority of you, I think, are BTech students, BTech or PE, right?
Yes, sir. We are having participants from undergraduate and graduate, plus the faculty members are also there.
Okay, thank you. So what is going to happen is mainly just focus on the technical part. Okay, developing an app, or maybe coming up with certain kind of prototype, then going for certain kind of funding support from venture capitalists or maybe the angel investors. And then finally launching your product or app, and then finally looking into how it's going to be a successful venture or maybe a unsuccessful venture in the future. So my question to you is, you must have experienced, you must have looked into different kind of startups started by entrepreneurs like you. You have also looked into the different kind of success and failure stories. So my first question to you is, can you just tell me what is the success rate of startups in India? Can some of you just tell me in the chat box what is the success rate of startups in India?
Less than 10%.
Less than 10%. Why it is so? Any idea?
0.001%.
0.001.
There may be a lot of reasons.
There may be a lot of
reasons like lack of proper market research,
okay,
lack of the technological advances for scaling up the business,
okay,
and some environmental problems as well, which are beyond our control.
perfect.
Lack of execution.
Lack of education. Perfect. So you have told me a bunch of reasons why the startup fails, why only a handful of startups are going to succeed in today's scenario, specifically when we talk about the Indian context. Okay. All of you are able to see the slides?
Yes, sir.
I will give you slide number 2.
Just make it full screen, sir. Yes, sir.
More than 90% of the startup fails. Major reasons you have just mentioned. Some of you have mentioned, lack of proper research, marketing research, lack of doing the marketing homework, anything else. If I say in an undergraduate class, okay, maybe a BTech class, we just going to graduate and we just ask them what kind of entrepreneurial intentions that they are going to have. I'm just going to get an answer. Like there are plenty of research studies that I have gone through and come to the conclusion that at least 80% of the people, at least 80% of the students are going to say that definitely in future, right now they are going for a certain kind of placement interviews, they got some job, so they are accepting that offer. But definitely in the future, 80% of the students will say that they are going to start a business. 80% of the students will say that they are going to start a business. Okay. Now, out of these 80% students also, if you just look into, out of this 80%, the 50% of them are definitely not going to give a single try in their entire life to start a business. Out of these 80% students, just remember my friends, 50% of those students are definitely not going to give a single try to start the business in their lifetime. Now the remaining 50% of this 80%, they are going to give a try, but majority of them, maybe about 70% of them, are going to start the business without having a proper homework. They will not do any proper homework and then they are going to start a business and definitely the results may be a failure. Okay? The major reason why startup fails because we are mainly looking or we are mainly having an internal perspective. Okay, because at an undergraduate student, maybe a postgraduate student, you have not looked into the market carefully. That is the major reason. You have only looked into that this is what the app is going to work, this is what the kind of problem it is going to solve, and this is the kind of profit that we are going to make over a period of time, and that's how we are going to scale up in the future, which is not really going to be fruitful until and unless you are going to have an external orientation. Until and unless you are going to have an external orientation. And what external orientation means, my friends, a simple thing is you need to look into the demand side. You need to look into the demand side. In a market, there are two major forces, supply and demand. Now you have identified a problem, now you are on the supply side. But the important component that you are missing is on the demand side. What actually customer needs. Are you getting my point? Because we are having most of the time short-term orientation of the business, majority of the startups fails. Majority of the startup fails. Okay? So we need to look into two things. One is idea implementation and parallel thing is customer needs. Until and unless you are not knowing who is your end customer, who is going to use your product, what kind of a specific, you can say, problem you are going to solve by using your product or maybe a service, you are not going to be successful in the marketplace. And that's why majority of the startups, they have an internal orientation. They will never look into what kind of a specific market we are going into, what kind of a specific profile that market is having, what kind of specific segments that exist in the market, which specific segment we are going to target, who will be our target audience. Will be our target audience within the age group of 18 to 25 years, or maybe will be our target audience will be 25 to 35 years, or maybe greater than 35 years. Will you are going to target the male population or the female population? Will you target the school-going kids or will you target the college students? Will you target the housewives? Will you target the working females? So what happens is, majority of the times we are just missing this important homework that we really need to carry out before your idea really takes into the shape of a product or a service. Okay, so whenever an idea comes to your mind, what happens is you are just going to discuss with your friends, you are just going to discuss with some of the faculty members, you are just going to discuss with the, maybe faculty members are going to give you certain kind of better insight because they have experience. They might have experience of looking into different kind of businesses, how they are performing at current point of time, what kind of different success stories and the failure stories the businesses are having, and then you clearly approach towards your institute for getting certain kind of funding, to seed fund, so that you can go for a kick start. Okay, so now if you even look for your institute, the number of projects that have been funded by the institute through a seed money, if you really look into, we generally look into that, once you are going to scale up, you are going to repay that particular money to the institute, or you are going to repay the particular money to the venture capitalist or the angel investors from where you have got that particular money. But why? Institute is fine. Why an angel investor? Why a specific, you can say, venture capitalist is going to invest in your project? Until and unless they will feel that it's really worth to invest. Until and unless they feel that it's really worth to invest in that particular idea. Because it's going to definitely take a longer time to reap the benefits from that particular product or the service. Okay, so that's why idea implementation is fine, but parallelly we need to also look into the customer needs. So if you are going to work on any kind of idea for the startup, any idea is there in your mind, first you look into the market. It is not only from the customer side, you also look into the competitor side. That is more important. Because in the market, specifically for the startups, consistency is the key to sustain. Consistency is the key to sustain. First, have the sustainability, then talk about the scalability. If your business is not sustainable, you cannot talk about scalability. Just remember this important point. So first, whatever the idea you are having, whatever the things you are having in the mind, whatever the product or services that you are going to come up with to solve certain kind of customer problems or to satisfy the customer needs, you need to think in terms of sustainability. Will you be able to sustain yourself? Will your business be sustainable in the coming future? If hiccups are there, because already what we say is we should have plan B. We should have plan B, or we can say we should have some contingency plans. Okay, so your business should be sustainable first, and then we talk about the scalability. And that you must have seen whenever a student or whenever an entrepreneur starts any business, it's sustainable, and once it is going to reap the benefits to the entrepreneur as well as the investors who have invested in that particular project or maybe the startup idea, then definitely what is going to happen, there are big fish in the market. There are big fishes in the market who are going to look into that scalability part. And that's why they give you offer, either we sell it to ourselves or we are going to start the similar kind of businesses. Or we are going to start the similar kind of businesses. And what is going to happen is they are the big box players. They are having millions of funding, millions of dollars of fundings. They have plenty of advertising budget behind them. If they are going to come up in your business, then definitely you will be out of the market. And that's why in the current scenario, people are focusing on multiple startups. Once the idea has come to your mind, looking into the customer needs, make the business sustainable. Once it is going to be scalable, definitely you are going to hand it over to some big companies. And then parallelly start focusing on the second idea, third idea, fourth idea. Never put all your eggs in one basket. And that's why, as an entrepreneur, as a student, whenever you talk about the innovation, whenever you talk about the new ideas, come up with so many ideas as possible. Discuss it with your classmates. Discuss it with your faculty mentors. Discuss it with. There are plenty of opportunities which are available now for the startups. There are different kind of supports which are available from the government side as well. And always have a focus on working on multiple startups. Never get obsessed with the kind of success that you are going to get in one of your startups. Take the success as a measure. Take the success as a measure. For example, I talk about, take example of the company like Apple. If you talk about the company like Apple, if you talk about in the year of 2007, okay, they have come up with the iPhone. They have come up with iPhone. And what happens is when they have come up with iPhone, at that time, Nokia and BlackBerry was having the maximum market share. Nokia and BlackBerry was having the maximum market share. And then what happens is once they look into that, who is going to buy a specific phone to talk to their relatives, to talk to their friends, which is actually having a cost of $600 at the time. So they were really laughing because, Nokia was having, you can say, plenty of market share as well as the BlackBerry, and they were laughing at Apple. And Steve Jobs, his vision was to create a large dent in the universe. And you just see after the launch of the iPhone and the present situation, they have continuously launched the different kind of versions of iPhone, and where are BlackBerry and Nokia. You can clearly understand those things. So what I mean to say is, if you look into any kind of company, any kind of specific business idea, because iPhone was completely a new product for Apple. Later on, they have launched iPad also. Okay, but once that particular idea has come to the mind of the Steve Jobs, then definitely once they are ready with the prototype, they have decided to come up with the product also. They have also decided the specific price, what they are going to charge from the market. The existing players who were the leaders, they were laughing. And now you just see the position of those people who were laughing at that particular idea. You talk about Nokia struggling, same is happening with the BlackBerry. And now you just compare it with Apple revenue. 70% of the revenue of Apple comes from iPhone. Now 70% of the revenue approximate comes from the sale of iPhone. Okay? And remember, my friends, whenever we talk about any kind of business idea, any kind of startup, angel investors, or maybe the venture capitalists, or maybe the kind of different kind of investment option that we are having from where we can generate the fundings, they are only going to fund your specific product or the project or maybe the startup idea once they see a promising future. Once they see a promising future. Until and unless you are going to promise a specific assured return to these kind of investors, they are not going to invest in your company. As simple as that. Okay? Moving forward, there are no...
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. Just one small announcement. Rameez Iqbal, stop sharing your screen. I request Rameez Iqbal. Host, kindly remove the Rameez Iqbal. Sir, please continue.
Okay, thank you. Slide number 3 is visible. My slides are visible.
Sir, it's not visible right now. The other participant, yeah, it's
Visible now?
yeah, it's visible now.
So if we look into what are the reasons for successful entrepreneurs or the successful businesses, startup ideas, so we can easily say that there is no secret sauce for success. There is no secret sauce for success. To talk about the successful entrepreneurs, because the market environment is very dynamic. What was working for you as an entrepreneur, maybe what kind of specific measures you have taken, or what kind of strategy that you have followed in the past, may not work in future. Because the market is very dynamic, customer tastes and preferences are continuously changing. Even your competitors are also looking into you, and they are just going to copy whatever the kind of thing that you are saying as unique may not be unique thing in the future. So remember that particular thing. So there is no secret sauce for success. Okay. So what is working really, or really which is going to benefit you at today's point of time, will not be the mantra of success in the future. So you need to continuously refine your strategies. You need to continuously refine your strategies. Okay. And what are the major things? What are the major mistakes that we are doing is we are very good in problem solving. Whenever we think about any startup idea, we are just thinking from the problem solving point of view. And as a graduating student, or maybe as a BTech student, or at whatever the kind of qualification that you are going to have, you are a very good problem solver. But we also need to be very good in finding the problem. If you are very good in finding the problem, then definitely you are going to make your mark in the market. We are very good. Someone has found the problem, then plenty of people will come to solve the problem. Okay, but hardly you will find a bunch of people who are really there, who are really actually interested in finding the exact problem. What is the exact problem the specific society is facing at current point of time, and how you are going to solve that particular problem. So the first more important thing is problem finding. Later on it comes problem solving. What we are focusing as in any kind of startup idea, we are just looking into the problem solving. You must have experienced this particular thing. You will come up with different kind of ideas. You will discuss it with plenty of people, and you will say that this is what we are going to solve the problem of the customers, and this is what they are going to pay. But have you done a careful homework whether it's a kind of right problem that you have identified, or it's just another solution which is available in the market, with having certain kind of uniqueness? They are doing offline, you are just creating a platform like an app or something like that, and then helping the people. So we need to focus first on whether the problem is correct or not, and for that you need to do a careful marketing homework. Okay. Third thing comes as competition. Certain times we also do mistakes here whenever we are coming up with any kind of startup idea. So what happens is, in the competition, very simple thing is, you can, whatever the idea you are going to have, just make this 2x2 matrix. Make this 2x2 matrix. Here you just write actual, here you write potential, here you write direct, here you write indirect. Just have this 2x2 matrix in place, your computer analysis is over. Just have here actual, potential, direct, indirect. And let me give some names. Actual, direct, I'm going to give the name as enemy. Actual, indirect, we can just talk it as substitutes. Potential, direct, we can talk about big box players. Potential, indirect, we are going to talk about obsolete. If you are able to do this particular exercise of making this 2x2 matrix, what we really do, the mistake is, we generally look into only this, actual and direct. And then we say that there is no competition at all. There are no competitors for my products. And this is the kind of silly mistake that we generally do. Why? Because we have overlooked some people who are substitutes, who are big box, and who are obsolete. Let me just give some examples on this. Okay. actual direct, they call it as enemy. Actual direct, they call it as enemy. So if I am going to introduce any kind of product based on my idea, and already someone is there or someone is going to introduce maybe after a few days, or already they are providing that kind of solution and targeting the same customers, they are called my enemies. Your competitor is going to be decided by the customers that they are going to target, not by the product. Remember this thing. Whenever you come up with any kind of startup idea, whenever you are going to do any kind of competitor analysis, just remember, my friends, your competitor is going to be decided by the customer segment that they are going to target, not by the product or the service that they are offering. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay, suppose I'm having a publisher house. I just come up with the idea and I've opened a publisher house and I'm publishing a specific book for maybe lawyers. Okay, so specific people who have done their LLB, BLLB, or some kind of things. They have some Bachelor of Law degree and they are having certain kind of problems in facing interviews or something like that. So for them, I have started publishing a book, How to Crack the Interviews. Am I clear? Now, there is another person, okay, maybe on the same street. He has also opened a publishing house. He has not copied any kind of thing from my book because it's a copyright. Okay, you can't copy just like that. What he did is he has just looked into my idea and he come up with that the same kind of problem that is faced by the law students is also faced by doctors. He has not stolen any of the words of my book, but he has come with a specific book for the doctors, how to fight or how to crack the interviews, different kind of interviews. Now, you just tell me, myself and the person who is publishing the book for the doctor, are we competitors?
Not direct, indirect competitors.
Are we competitors? Because our customer segment is different. Even though our product is same, the book, but I am targeting law graduates, he is targeting doctors, or he is targeting engineers, he may be targeting some MBA fellows. So your competition is going to be decided by the customer segment. Just remember this thing, not by the product or service. If the other person is also targeting the same kind of customer segment and they are fulfilling the similar kind of needs, then only we are competitors. And once we are targeting the same customers and satisfying the same need, then we are going to have to take care of enemy. And what we are going to do the enemy, we are going to love them, we are going to crush them. Am I clear? However, another territory for the competitors are who are actual and indirect. Who are actual and indirect. Okay? So maybe you have come up with the idea of opening a restaurant at a specific location where there are not so many restaurants. You have come up with a specific menu for maybe for Maharashtrian people, or maybe you can say for some other people which are looking into that kind of a specific menu, and the sale will be more. And just near to you, one more restaurant is there who is altogether having a different menu. But what is going to happen if the customer is hungry and he just wants to have a quick snack? He has the option either to choose your restaurant or the other person's restaurant. In that case, we are acting as substitutes. We are acting as substitutes. Third thing, potential and direct. And these are actual that are there in the market. The second thing comes into the potential part. Those who are not there in the market, but if they will come. But if they will come. So the first category is big box. As I told you, we need to focus on multiple startups because once your specific idea has taken a shape of a product or service, now it's sustainable, now it's scalable, you have started or generating the profits, you have started repaying the specific returns, what has been promised to the angel investors or maybe to the venture capitalists or maybe to the other individual investors, your stakeholders, your employees, whatever it is, then there are big fish in the market who are looking into those specific kind of businesses. And if these kind of big fish will come into the market by just copying your business model, you will be out of the market. You will be out of the market. These are called big box players. And finally, the final thing is potential and indirect, that is called obsolete. That we can talk about the futuristic technologies. And that's why someone has said at the start of the session, one of the major reasons of failure is, they said one of the reasons is execution. Just remember, my friend, execution is fine. If you talk about the company like Kodak, okay, the execution was perfectly fine, but they have missed someone. They have missed someone which is coming in the category of potential and indirect. And now you just look into where Kodak is. Now you just look into where the Kodak is, because they are not able to anticipate the future. They were not able to anticipate what is going to happen in the future, what kind of specific technologies which are going to come. And they have not keep up pace with upgrading their products so that they can fight with the kind of upcoming technology. And that's why their existing products have become obsolete. Their existing products have become obsolete. But remember, once you have a startup, once you have established your position, just remember, you should not be that much obsessed about new technology. New technology definitely you should adopt. New technology definitely you should adopt. But you should not be very much obsessed on new technology. Yeah, some of the things you can adopt from new technology. Certain things you can just focus on your existing business model. Existing business model. You must have seen BlackBerry. Okay, they have a keyboard option also, and they have this kind of smartphone option also. Keyboard option for them, those who are, it's very difficult for them to change the habits. Okay, so that's why whenever we are coming up with any kind of new product, we need to also look into what is going to happen with our existing product. What is going to happen with the existing habits of our customers. And just remember, my friends, if you are going to focus on your existing as well as the kind of potential customer that you are going to acquire in future, you are going to be successful. If you are really caring your customers, you are going to be successful. And the success measures will come in terms of your increased market share, increased sales, profits. That will come by default. The only thing is, we need to look into how we are going to retain our customers. Acquisition is fine, how you are going to retain them. And it's not only retention, but also parallelly how you are going to acquire new customers. And for that, you need to update yourself with the new technology. However, some of your customers do not want to get this new technology so fast. Okay? To update yourself, to establish yourself among the competitors, you need to upgrade towards new technology. But certain product lines, you need to still focus so that the existing habits of the customers should not break. You should not break the existing habits of the customers. Why it is so? Why I am focusing more and more on existing habits? Let me give you a very live example. Okay. Just remember what you did yesterday. Okay. Or generally, as a student, once you are going to attending the classes, just I am talking about the pre-COVID-19 scenario. Okay. So, what you are going to do? Can you just some of you tell me your daily activities from morning to evening? What you do in general? Any of the students? What is your daily schedule? Okay, let me give you an idea. Wake up, okay, going for, fresh होते हैं आप, fresh होने के बाद, you just go to your mess, have breakfast, come back, be ready for the college, going to the college, attending the classes, coming in the afternoon, having your food in the mess, then again going for the college, coming back, going for playing some games, and then after that, maybe certain kind of homework or assignment has been given, certain revision, certain other things that you are going to focus on in the future. You are preparing for some placement, you are preparing for some government job. So whenever you have some time specifically for that slot. Okay. And then finally you are going to have your dinner and you are going to sleep. Okay. So if you just are there with me, you will notice this thing every day. Every day, okay, yourself if I am taking as an individual, you are going to repeat 70% of the activities. You are going to repeat 70% of the activities on a daily basis. Is it true?
Yes, sir.
Is it true? Okay. That's called the existing habits of the customers. Now think it from the side of customers. We should not break this habit because the customer is having certain kind of resistance. They do not want to change. They do not want to adopt the technology that fast. And that's why you must have seen whenever Apple is going to launch the new version of iPhone, whenever Apple is going to launch the new version of iPhone, maybe iPhone 7 or iPhone 8, what they will do? They will give a huge discount on their earlier model. Okay? They are going to give a huge discount on the earlier model. Because, my friend, there is an innovation adoption cycle. There is something known as innovation adoption cycle. Some of the customers are having a profile of innovators. They have bought your earlier version also. They were the first customers who have bought that particular mobile phone. And whenever you are going to launch the next version, they will be the first one to buy that particular mobile phone. They are going to switch because they are having an innovator profile. But certain people comes in the last category that we call it as laggards. So now once the other customers are going to switch from iPhone 7 to iPhone 8, now they will switch from iPhone 6 to iPhone 7. And that's why Apple is following that particular strategy consistently. Whenever they are going to come up with a new version of iPhone, they are going to give a huge discount on the earlier version. So that the next price sensitive layer of the customers can buy the product, can just see the product, what Apple can do for them. And you continuously need to, whenever you are successful or whenever your business is scaling up, you should not be reluctant. You should not be hesitant in trying the new ideas. Apple did that by opening the offline retail stores. Everyone was laughing in US. They have just opened an offline retail store so that the customers can visit the Apple store and can see how the Apple products look like and what kind of benefit that they can get by using Apple products. And that's why, if you remember, the tagline of Apple is think different. Think different. What they say, Apple products, whether it's your iPad, whether it's your iPhone, whether it's your Mac, it's not for all. It's not for all the customers. It is only for the customers who think different. It's not easy to operate an iPhone. It's not easy to operate a Mac as compared to what kind of other laptops or computers that we are operating or what kind of other things that we are having the other mobile phones. Okay, so it's only for those people. If you look into the initial proposition of Apple, that has not changed. Their core specific, what we can say is the core competitive advantage. They are only targeting the people who are really having a zeal inside to do something new. And this is how they define their target segment. They do not define the target segment that Apple iPhone is for all. And that's why I'm saying, whenever we are coming up with any kind of startup idea, we need to do a careful marketing homework. Rest of the things will follow. Okay? So we need to focus on customer needs. You need to be very good in problem findings. Okay? Not only the problem solving, you need to be very good in problem finding. That is more important. Then we also need to look into the competition. The slide is visible.
It is not visible.
So it's visible now. Yeah, it's
Not
visible.
visible. Not visible.
Not visible.
Just that's visible.
Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And finally, when we talk about competition in any kind of startup idea, if you want to be a hero in the market, then definitely you need to identify who could be the possible villain. If you really want your specific idea of startup to be successful, you need to also do a careful analysis in identifying who could be the possible villain for your business. If you identify them, you have crushed them, then definitely your idea is going to work out. Am I clear? Moving forward, so starting up the success mantras for the entrepreneurs. Okay. Stop obsessing about entrepreneurial success. That we have just discussed the example of Apple. When in 2007 they have come up with the iPhone. What kind of reactions they got from BlackBerry and Nokia. And you can just see the current position of Apple and just compare it with BlackBerry and Nokia in the telephone market. Okay. Second, you need to look into where is your foot nailed to the floor. Means the winning formula is not the same in the dynamic environment. You can just take example of Nokia and BlackBerry, how they're struggling. Okay, because they have not kept themselves updated. They have not looked into that now it's time to change. And that's why their foot got nailed into the floor. And now just look into somewhat Nokia is reviving their conditions to some of the strategies. Okay. Another thing is practice-wise persistence. Okay. So whether you are in the stage of funding, whether you are in the stage of developing the prototype, or you are just doing certain kind of market research, aligning your product with the market. Okay. You need to do a careful marketing research. Okay. So some persistence should be there. Have some patience. Have some patience. Then only the fruits will come. And the best example is Pinterest. The best example is Pinterest in this case. When they have come up with this particular idea, two of the fellows have started this particular business. Okay. And now you can just see where this Pinterest is, what kind of success rate they are having in the social media. And there was a time when one of their co-founder has left Pinterest and they have joined for some other company. Like this particular idea is not going to work out. So whatever the specific stage that you are in, whether you are in, finalizing your idea for the startup, whether you are, the stage of, identifying the funding resources, whether to get from venture capitalists or the angel investors, or maybe from your institute, or maybe from the government side, whether you are in the stage of prototype, have the patience. Okay, as an entrepreneur, you should not be impatient. Okay. Another thing that comes is integrity. Okay, I hardly find anyone who is coming in the category who is having all these three things as an entrepreneur: credibility, commitment, and courage. Okay, because that requires a holistic orientation. As an entrepreneur, you should be responsible towards your employees who are working for you. You are also be responsible towards your customers. That is customer relationship management, employee relationship management. You are also responsible for your partners. You are also responsible for the suppliers. It's called supplier relationship management and partner relationship management. And your partners are not only limited to those specific companies who are providing you or helping you in providing certain kind of technology platforms. Your partners also comes into all the stakeholders. Maybe the government, maybe the specific society in which you are operating in. Okay, because you know that the companies are also doing certain kind of specific initiatives in terms of corporate social responsibility. That has become a mandate. 2% of your gross profit should go for the corporate social responsibility activities. You should be responsible for the society in which you are operating in. Okay? And then finally, we have to also look into the passion and compassion, not obsession. The best example in this case is Apple. So whether they have come up with iPhone, whether they have come up with a Mac, or maybe a kind of iPad, okay, all these things, all these products were really, really successful in the marketplace. Okay. Now I'll just tell you one name. Okay. The name of that person is Warren Buffett. How many of you have heard the name Warren Buffett?
Yes, sir.
What do you do? Any idea?
Yes, sir.
वॉरेन बफेट को आप लोग कैसे जानते हैं? He is a person who need to give lot of advice on how to manage your
Investor and mall owner, I guess.
how to manage your portfolio, which companies to invest, which companies not to invest. So they generally give you the tips about the share market because he himself is investing, and he will generally talk about how to build a balanced portfolio for the customer who are having that kind of profile. What kind of portfolio should be there for aggressive customers, and that is really the needed in the funding stage. And what he says is invest in those companies. What he says is invest in those companies who are having market power. What he says is invest in those companies who are having marketing power. What marketing power means? What marketing power means, according to him, is invest in those companies means those who are having marketing power means whatever the price that they are going to fix up for their product, they are able to fetch it from the market. We talk about Apple iPhone. Whenever they come up with a new version, whatever the price they are going to fix, they really do some calculation before fixing the price, but they are going to fetch it. They need not to give any kind of further discount on their new version of iPhone. That's the kind of marketing power a brand should have, or your company should have, or kind of product that you are selling, it should have the market power over a period of time. So you should also think in that manner. If definitely you are going to have a marketing power in the market, you will find a lot of investors who are really interested in funding your project, in funding your startup idea. You need to show them a promising future of your business. Not only in terms of customers, but also in terms of the kind of future plans or the contingency plans that you are having. If this is not going to work out, we are going to focus on this. If that is also not going to work out, we are going to focus on plan C or something like that. And if this is going to work out, we are also going to launch, 3-4 additional services. So what we say is, whenever you are having a startup idea, you should just sit down, be relaxed, do all the homework, and then make a business model canvas. Then make a business model canvas. And friends, remember, if you are able to make the business model canvas, then definitely you are going to get a holistic picture of your business. What is going to happen in the future? And the chances of success will be much more. Okay? Because we fail, because we are not, or we have not done the proper planning. And not only in terms of planning, execution, but also in terms of foreseeing the future. And that's why towards end of this session, I'll just take up an example of one of the company who was a startup and they have now earned a lot of name, and we'll just discuss how to make business model canvas. Okay. So before starting that particular thing, we should generally focus on certain things. These are some of the examples of rural entrepreneurs who are not having the education like you people are having. So you might get certain kind of inspiration from these people. This fellow is from Gujarat, Mansukh Bhai Jagani. What he did is he has come up with a specific thing that he called it as Bullet Shanti. As a college or a school dropout, he developed a motorcycle-based tractor for India's poor farmers that are both cost-effective as well as fuel-efficient. Okay, because the fuel cost is also rising, it should be fuel-efficient. The second is overall cost reduction should be there. So that's the kind of benefit that they have promised. And finally, he has come up with a multi-purpose toolbar, also called as Product Shanti, which can carry out various farming activities. Okay. The second person, Mansukh Bhai Patel, Gujarat. He was working as a helper in a steel tube manufacturing company at Ahmedabad. And then finally he has invented something in the field of farming that we know as Chetak. That is the cotton stripping machine, which has significantly changed the way farmers carry out their agricultural activities by processing bulk of cotton simultaneously, saving tremendous amount of time, cost. Okay. Another person, Mansukh Bhai Prajapati, again from Gujarat. He has come up with a specific solution known as Mitti Cool. Okay, this was made up of terracotta and worked on a simple physics principle of circulating and evaporating water, keeping the contents cool and fresh for up to 5 days. And now this particular company not only makes but also exports fridge, non-stick tawa, low-cost water filters, thermal water bottles, etc. And that's why we say whenever you are going to be successful or any of your idea is really going to give you certain kind of fruits in the future, don't get obsessed by the success. Because what is working for you right now may not work in future. So you should also revive your strategies to continuously come up with the new, okay, extending your product lines, coming up with the new product line, and that's how you can be more successful.
I request all the participants to mute their mics and switch off their videos. Thank you.
Sunita, good
Yes, sir.
evening.
So the next entrepreneur, Dadaji Kobrigade, he is from Maharashtra. He has developed a specific variety of rice. He has developed a very successful variety of rice at HMT type that needed 80% more when compared to the conventional variety. Okay. Another person from Andhra Pradesh, he has invented a device which mechanized the process and reduced the human effort to the bare minimum. It has specifically helped the people who are in the production of saris. So their production have increased from 1 sari a day to 6 saris in a day.
Excuse me, Dr. Sangram, kindly mute your mic. Dr. Sangram Singh, kindly mute your mic. I once again request all the participants to mute their mics and switch off their videos. Dr. Sangram Singh, kindly mute your mic. Kindly mute your mic, Dr. Sangram. Yes, sir. So you can continue.
Yeah, okay. Another fellow, Madanlal Kumawat from Rajasthan, he has also come up with an innovative solution in terms of a fuel-efficient multi-crop thresher. Kailash Katkar from Maharashtra, he was actually working at a calculator repair shop. In 1993, he took the big step and founded CAT Computer Service, now famously known as Quick Heal Technologies. Okay, because the company employs more than 1,200 workforce with a customer base of 17 million across the world. Another person from Kerala has come up with the idea of ID Fresh, that is Idli Dosa Better, and he has just started with a small investment of 25,000 rupees. He started a company with his cousins from selling 100 packets a day to catering across various cities in India, and now they are also expanding towards other countries like Dubai. It's now a 100 crore company producing 50,000 packets a day with 1,100 employees workforce. And the major focus of them still is they recruit people from rural area so that they can provide them with the wide opportunities and help the poorer section of the society. Another lady, Jyoti Reddy from Telangana. Okay. She got married at an early age of 16. After that, she has to start working in the field to sustain her family. She was very determined. She gone for the graduation. She has completed her BA. Her passion to reach at the top took her to United States. Started her own consulting company with the name of E Software Solutions. And in just 2016, the company notched up a turnover of US $15 million. Another fellow, Gyanesh Pandey from Bihar, he left the job working in Los Angeles. He has then come back to his village and he has come up with the idea to generate power from renewable farm waste, that is husk, okay? The waste from rice. And a year later, a company called Husk Power System was set up, which has gone on to set up numerous power plants across different villages. So these are certain examples which really inspire you, which really gives you an idea how these small people, those who are not having a specific formal education, okay, may not be a graduation, may not be maximum of them are school dropout, but they have really looked into, at a problem identifier first. They have really looked into at a grassroots level what kind of a specific problem that the customers or the farmers or the society is facing. And majority of them were not initially having the objectives of making profits. Majority of them were not having the objective of making profits. The major and sole objective they were having is helping the society. So they have really done a very good homework in terms of problem identification. And later on coming up with studying and a solution is much more easier if you have identified the problem correctly. So the problem identification, if you have done this particular step correctly, 50% of your job is done. Now, the only thing is you need to provide certain kind of things in terms of solution to that particular problem, and the people are going to like it. The people are going to like it. Okay? Moving forward. So this is a broad framework that you generally look into once you want to market your idea. Okay? Because you need not to only market your product or the service that you are going to come up with at the last output of your entrepreneurial activities. You need to also think from the marketing perspective how you are going to capture the market. Okay? So what are your specific goals? What kind of a specific segmentation strategy that you are going to follow? How you are going to segment the market? That is more important. Okay? Because we can't connect with everyone in the market. So we need to segment the market. And for segmentation, you need to identify certain kind of basis. So maybe segmenting the market based on geography, where you want to target. You want to target the central part of the India. You want to target the northeastern part of the India. You want to target the western part of the India, wherever. So you need to be very, very careful which specific segment you are going to target. For that, you can take a basis of geographic segmentation. Based on the geography, you can segment the market. And this is how I am going to start up with. And then later on, I will move to the other parts of the country. Okay? Then the second type of segmentation is demographic segmentation. You need to identify which specific population group you are going to target, what will be the income level that I am going to target, what is their education level, what is their marital status, whether they are married or single, okay, male, female, all this comes under your demographic segmentation. Moving forward, we can also look into certain other segmentation bases like psychographic segmentation based on the specific lifestyle, as well as the kind of activities, interest, and opinion the customers are having. On the basis of that, also we can segment the customer. We can also segment the customers in psychographic segmentation based on the kind of innovation profile that they are having. For example, you just take your own example, just compare it with your batchmates. Some of you are really passionate whenever a new technology comes up. Maybe 20% of the class is really passionate to adopt that particular technology. But maybe you will find certain other people who are forming another 20% who are very late in adopting that technology, because for them it is very difficult to break the existing habits. So as I have told you that you are going to repeat 70% of your activities daily. Are you getting my point? So what is going to happen is you are going to become habitual. We have two kind of minds. One is conscious, another is unconscious. So that 70% of the activities or the 80% of the activities that you are doing on a routine basis, you are doing it from your unconscious mind. Hardly 10 to 20% of the activities on a daily basis, you are really using your conscious mind. You are really using your conscious mind. And if you really want to be successful, entrepreneur, just remember, my friends, You should not break the existing habits of the customer. You should not break the existing habits of the customers. Make your product or service in such a manner so that customer will become habitual. Customer will become habitual. Now, are we habitual of using MS Office? Say yes or no.
No, sir.
सभी लोग यूज करते हैं ना MS Office?
Yes.
So every profession you just think about in the morning how many computers will start up and how many people will start working on the different applications of MS Office, whether it's MS Word, Excel, PowerPoint, whatsoever it is, Publisher, and plenty of other things are available. Okay, so what we need to do, and that's why what I said, whenever you are going to be a successful entrepreneur, whenever your business or the idea is going to be resulted into a successful venture, you should not get obsessed. You should just think what kind of new technologies are going to come up in the future, what kind of new hurdles that may come up. Always try to do at different point of time what is the SWOT analysis. What we call it as the SWOT analysis. And that's why you must have read this particular thing. Wherever the company executive will sit, they will say, okay boss, let's run a quick SWOT analysis. So we can clearly identify what are our strengths, what are our weaknesses, what are our opportunities, what are our threats. And then what we are going to do is we are going to link up. We are going to link up these strengths with the opportunities. We are also going to look at how we can utilize our strengths to minimize the threats. Okay, and what could we do so that our weaknesses should be minimized. So generally we prepare a SWOT matrix. Certain times we also prepared house matrix. Okay, so we are going to mix up the threats with the opportunities. We are going to mix up the weaknesses with the strengths. And just remember, these strengths and weaknesses are internal. We are starter. These opportunities or threats are external. These are external, and these strengths and weaknesses are internal. Am I clear? So these are from the market point of view, and these are from the internal point of view. Okay, so once you have segmented your market, then you need to look into whom you are going to target. Okay, whatever the idea that you are having, you have now come up with a product, whom you will target. Whom you will target, for example, if you are making some products for a baby, whom you are going to target? Parents, maybe their mother. But again, if you have not done a careful marketing homework, you are going to be unsuccessful in targeting the category. Because the specific segment that you are targeting, you have missed one information that majority of the couple which are there in the society are working. And their kids are specifically, being taken care by, the grandparents, the grandmother or the grandfather. So we need to clearly identify who is my target population, how I am going to target. So should I target now their mother? No. I should target certain kind of specific channel I should identify so that I should reach the grandparents, the grandmother and the grandfather. Because ultimately they are playing as a role of decision maker while buying the products for the babies. Am I clear? Then you need to look into how you are going to position yourself. What is the kind of position you want to have in the market? You want to have a position of a premium brand, which is really going to charge a higher price and provide high quality, or maybe at an acceptable price you can provide acceptable quality, and how you are going to differentiate yourself. That's a major thing in any of the startup. What is the uniqueness in your product? Okay, how your product is unique as compared to the other solutions which are available in the marketplace. That you need to differentiate. And that should come out in your positioning statement also, so that we can make ultimately a value proposition. So what is the value proposition of Domino's? That you will get the hot pizza and delivered to your home in just 30 minutes. So that's the kind of value proposition that Domino's is having. Are you getting my point? Okay. You talk about the specific apps like Uber, they are having a value proposition for the customer. They are providing a convenience platform so that they can book the ride at their own convenience. So you need to identify what kind of value proposition your startup is having. Okay, in just 2 or 3 words. Okay, what kind of specific platform it is going to provide? Whether it's a kind of convenience for the customers by using your specific app or your product or service or something else. So, segmentation, targeting, then positioning, differentiation, and value proposition. And then you need to define your 4 Ps. What your product and service is all about, what kind of feature it is having, how many different sizes it is going to come up with, what kind of different options you are going to provide, whether it is completely for free for use or maybe certain premium options are there. Because majority of the startups which are having the apps, they are working on, we call it as freemium model. So something is for free, but if you really want to enjoy the uninterrupted service of that particular app, you need to pay certain kind of premium for that. So we have free membership so that the customers can come, they can really experience what the app is all about, what kind of specific benefits we can get from the products and services, and then certain things, if you really want to have it, you need to pay something like premium. You must have seen this thing. This particular model has now been adopted by LinkedIn. This particular model has also been adopted by YouTube. You must have seen whenever you are logged into your Gmail, you are opening your YouTube. Whenever you are going to watch any kind of video, they will say that subscribe to the premium membership. It's completely free for 1 month. You need to only give your credit or debit card details, and the amount they will deduct. If you are going to cancel that particular thing before 1 month, that amount will be refunded. So they are just going to give you experience. What kind of specific premium service they are going to provide through YouTube, and what kind of difference it is having with the kind of free services that you are getting right now. So majority of the companies focuses on freemium model. So you need to be very, very clear about product and service functionality and the features. Second is the channel. How you are going to approach to the customers. What are specific channels from which they prefer to buy? Okay, whether it's a kind of specific website or maybe it's a kind of offline store that you are going to open, whatsoever it is. So you need to ask the different kind of specific customer segment and how we can reach that. Okay. Third thing is what kind of specific pricing mechanism that you are going to follow. So the pricing mechanism, very simple thing is like you people must be doing the calculation whenever you have these kind of specific startup ideas. And there is a cost associated with that particular product, and then you are just going to put certain kind of markup. So if that particular product is going to cost in the market maybe you can say 3 rupees, then you are just going to put certain kind of markup on that. Maybe you can say 33% or maybe 40% of that, and that's how you are going to finalize the price. Certain times we also look into the competitors. What existing solutions are there in the market to fulfill the similar need, or maybe what are the things which are available as substitutes, what kind of price they are charging, what is the uniqueness in your product. If your product is really unique, it is having a differentiation point, you can charge a premium price, as simple as that. And finally, we need to also look into how we are going to promote our idea. There are plenty of ways. You can just look into certain of, you can follow certain TEDx platforms, maybe by done in the different IITs. There you will come to know plenty of ideas of promoting your idea or the kind of product or services that you are having as a startup completely for free. Completely for free. There are specific digital marketing aspects which are available, which are completely for free. And you can promote yourself. Okay, you can use the power of social media also. So plenty of ways are available. So we need to focus on 4 Ps for our startup: product or the service, whatever it is. Second is place. Okay, how the customers are going to access it, how they are going to get it, from which kind of channel. Third is price, and fourth is promotion. Then just remember, these 4 Ps may become 4 As. These 4 Ps may become 4 As based on the kind of responses or the kind of market in which we are operating in. If we are talking about the rural area and coming up with an innovative product, that product becomes acceptability. This product or service becomes acceptability. Your channel becomes, or the place will become accessibility. Your price will become affordability. And your promotion will become awareness. And your promotion will become awareness. So the startup, if you don't have that kind of a specific fund or the specific support from the venture capitalist, need not to worry. The only thing is your product and service idea should be promising. It should be acceptable by the customer. Second thing is it should be accessible by the customer, affordable. Whatever the price that you are going to fix up, it should be affordable by the customer. And finally, they should also have the awareness that your product or the service is there in the market. And that's how it is going to, provide them certain kind of a specific platform through which they can solve their specific problems or can satisfy the needs of the customers. Okay? And then once you are focusing on this, these 4 P's are going to make yourself as a brand which is really going to interact with your end customers. Which is really going to interact with your end customers. Okay? And finally, we have your organization and employees, continuous feedback and market research mechanism, the revenue and profit stream, what is your business model, and also the competition. So this is what a broad framework of marketing is. So whenever you have any kind of idea for a startup, you are in the midway, always do this particular analysis to really look into whether you will be able to market your product in the market or not. But that is more important. Okay? Moving forward, we'll discuss later on. Okay. The business model canvas, which is more important for you as an entrepreneur, or maybe once you are having a startup idea, you can just move towards looking into what is your business canvas. Okay. So these are the key elements of your business canvas. Who are your key partners? What are the key activities? So you need to be very, very careful. Whenever you are having any kind of startup idea, you need to start making a business canvas. Just make a business canvas. Or more specifically, business model canvas. So these are the specific activities that should be there in your business canvas. Starting from who are your key partners? What are the key activities that you are going to do? What are the key resources you are having? What is the value proposition of the startup? How you are going to build the relationships with the customers? What are the channels through which you will reach the customers? It's also in terms of accessibility and also in terms of the awareness. Both the things. Am I clear? The channel through which customer can access your product, can get your product, as well as the awareness. So how you are going to create that particular thing, what kind of specific channels you are going to choose. Then what specific customer segments that you are going to target. I will just recommend you can just go to this STC classification, socioeconomic classification, which is actually being launched by the government. They have divided the population based on the socioeconomic classification into different categories. So there are around 11 consumer durables. And then they are looking into the education of the chief earner of the family. And based on that, they are just putting them in certain segments. So they have decided different categories. So here they have taken the education, maybe illiterate, literate, went to school, or maybe you can say they passed some 10th, 12th, graduation, post-graduation and above. And the left side they are having the number of consumer durables. Okay, and based on that they are putting into certain specific segment. And these people who are having a graduation degree and having out of this list of 11 consumer durables, they are having 8, then they follow in the category of D1. So this is the kind of yardstick which is being used by all the business firms. So you can also look into it, the socioeconomic classification, type it in the Google, you will find how the government has given it as a yardstick and companies are using to specifically target the customers. Finally, after customer segments, you need to also look into what is your cost structure, and what are your revenues. So if we just look into this particular thing, customer relationships, channels, customer segments, as well as the revenue part. Okay, that is, we can say, on the demand side. Then cost structure, along with your value proposition, key resources, key activities, and key partners are on the supply side. So they are on the demand side, they are on the supply side. Okay. Now let me just show you example of a business model canvas. This slide is visible to all of you. The business model canvas of Uber. The slide is visible.
No, sir, we can see the key elements only.
Now it's visible.
Yes, sir.
All of you are able to see the business model canvas of Uber.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you can just look into, this is the way in which you should also focus on who are your key partners. Who are your key partners, first of all? What are the key activities? What are the key resources? And what is the cost structure? And what is the value proposition? That should be ready. These things we can talk about. These things should be ready from the organization side or from your side as an entrepreneur. Okay, and these things are market related things. So, how you are going to build a relationship with the customers, what channels you are going to use to approach them, what specific customer segments you are going to target, and how you are going to generate the revenue. So you can just look into these particular things one by one, starting from key partners, key activities, key resources, value proposition, cost structure, and then on the supply demand side, we are having customer relationships, customer segments, channels, revenues. If through this particular lecture you come to know how to prepare this business model canvas, the objective of this lecture is achieved. Okay, so we need to focus on 9 things. There are 9 things in this, starting from key partners. So just talk about Uber. What is their business model? They provide a platform. Okay, so for them the key partners are the drivers. Okay, investors, as well as the lobbyists, as well as the supporters. You must have seen whenever they are going to make certain kind of extension of their services in different cities or maybe in different states, moving maybe from like Delhi to Karnataka and then moving towards Hyderabad. They need to also have these kind of specific partners or lobbyists who are the supporters, the cities or the society in which they are going to start up or going to start this kind of service. Okay, so drivers are their key partners. The flexibility for the driver for the Uber is they can join anytime, they can leave anytime at a very short notice. And second thing is what Uber is following is they are not doing any kind of capital investment in buying the cars. The driver are coming up with their own cars, or they are taking that particular car on rent, okay, from somewhere in the marketplace. Okay, that's how you can differentiate yourself in the marketplace. What is the uniqueness in your app? Because just remember, any of the app that you are using is just a gateway. It's just a door of the home or maybe the office. Behind that particular door is a great business model, which is really going to make that particular app a successful venture or an unsuccessful venture. And what we do as entrepreneurs, we spend months, we spend years on developing the app. Okay, so just remember your app is just a front end. Okay, to be a successful app or to be a successful service provider of any kind of services, there should be an excellent business model that should be behind that particular door or behind that particular front door, which is just acting like an app for the customers. Am I clear? Specialized technology will make yourself unique, but the lacking point here is whatever the things which are making you unique at this point of time, tomorrow they are going to be copied by your competitors. So you need to continuously identify the ways in which you can continuously differentiate yourself from the competitors. Okay? Then there are other services which are provided by the computers as well, like maps, GPS, multiple payment mechanism, analytics, okay, financing, driver cars, insurance, and many others. Okay? What are the key activities that they focus on? They remove the friction from transactions. Okay, they scale beyond the critical mass. They engage the participant. They refine the value proposition. And the another thing is they analyze the data and improve on. That is the major specific key activity that they have. They're continuously taking the customer feedback. After every ride, they will have the feedback from you. How was the ride? They will ask for the behavior of the driver. And then compiling the data and continuously improving. It's really a key to sustain yourself in the marketplace or to make a better relationship with the customers in the marketplace. Continuously analyze the data. Identify that which customers are frequent travelers or the frequent users of your specific app. Based on that, you just have certain kind of loyalty points for them, certain kind of rewards for them, certain kind of free rides for them, and plenty of other activities. Because once you are valuing the customer, there are two ways. It's a kind of win-win relationship in the marketplace. If you are really, really careful, you are really caring for your customers, then definitely the customers are going to give it in return. The kind of profit, the kind of market share. Not only this, just remember the majority of the activity that the customers are doing now is they are reducing your advertising expenses. They are reducing your promotional expenses through positive word of mouth. And you can just see, previously when I am satisfied with any kind of service provider, I generally tell 2 to 5 people. And now you just see the power of positive word of mouth by using social media. You are more aware of this particular social media than me, how to spread and what kind of specific exponential growth will be there in spreading the positive or the negative word of mouth about any company. Am I clear? Key resources, they are having the network effects, data analytics, skilled staff, apps, architecture, venture capital, and brand. Value proposition they have for both, for drivers as well as for customers and riders. They are just acting as a bridge, the platform, okay, and they are charging a convenience fee of around 30%. Okay. Customer relationship to drivers and riders, they provide safe, secure, as well as they provide the lowest fare. Public, communal, as well as the social footprint. Channels, they are using social media, word of mouth, local campaigns, media, apps also they are advertising. They are doing long-term as well as short-term campaign on that. Then the other communication channels that they are using. Customer segment, drivers, they are classifying based on demographic, socioeconomic, microgeographic, behavioral, and situational factors. Whereas customers, they are classifying based on usage patterns, type of uses, demographic, socioeconomic, and microgeographic factors. Okay. That SEC classification, you can just look into the Google, you will be able to find out how they are classifying the customer based on SEC. We have discussed two things based on consumer durables, the number of consumer durables, they have given a list, and second is the education of the chief earner of the family. This is what the cost structure is, the customer acquisition cost, weighted average cost of capital, over pool driver cost, legal and settlement cost, and also certain kind of specific insurance cost is also involved in this. And this is what they are earning the revenue. Okay, the transaction fees through which they earn the revenue, 30%, cost saving to taxis, asset capital cost, no license fee, and also certain kind of specific benefits for the employees, including the drivers. And not only this, you must have seen they have extended this particular business model. They are not only limited themselves to the providing this kind of specific rights, but also they have moved over towards the segment towards Uber Eats, in which, in the similar manner, they are approaching the drivers. The similar kind of thing is available for the restaurants. They can also join this particular thing at any moment, very short notice, or they can leave it. But by having this kind of diversified portfolio, Uber has somehow managed their position because they were not able to get the revenue during this COVID-19 pandemic somehow. But somehow they were able to sustain their position through Uber Eats. Am I clear? And that is the role of business portfolio. At last, I will just discuss a simple calculation whenever you start a business, getting the customers, how to calculate the customer lifetime value. Okay? So maybe you are having a specific app through which or the specific service through which you are just shipping the total consignments. So this is the data that you are having from your app or from the offline office that you are having. You have started a business. So the total consignment that you are shipping per month is 2,285. That may be the total number of units sold by you per month. In the other case, the number of customers that you are having right now is 140. The profit margin per consignment is rupees 495. There is a discount rate that we generally do to calculate the present value. So that is going on as 12%. And you are able to retain 90% of the customers that you can just look into by having the specific information on your customer. The annual retention rate is 90%. So the simple formula for calculating the customer lifetime value is we need to calculate it first for the annual basis. So we have here the data of total consignment shipped per month. If you just see here, this is the data of total consignment shipped per month. These are the number of customers. So first we need to convert it into on a yearly basis. So we are going to multiply it by 12 and we are going to divide it by the number of customers. So these are the consignment per customer per annum we are going to get 195.8. Second information, we are having the profit margin per consignment, that is rupees 495. So we are going to multiply it and we are going to get the profit margin per customer per annum. That is 495 multiplied by 195.8. Okay. So 495 is your profit margin per consignment multiplied by consignment per customer per annum, that is 195.8. And we got a value of 96,921. Then we need to calculate the margin multiple. That is nothing but the formula is retention rate divided by 1 plus discount rate minus retention rate. So here, if you just go into the previous slide, the discount rate was 12% and annual retention rate was 90%. If you are going to put it in this formula, you are going to calculate a value of 4.09. Multiply by this, you are going to get a customer lifetime value of 3,96,407. And what we are going to do with this, you always look into how to increase the profit margin over a period of time from the customer. Also focus on how to increase the customer retention rate. Because friends, as a startup, if you are not able to retain your customer, you will be out of the business very soon. It's a leaking basket. Okay. Continuously you are acquiring the customer, continuously you are losing the customer. And just remember, acquiring a new customer costs you 5 to 7 times more. Acquiring a new customer costs you 5 to 7 times more as compared to retaining an existing customer. Just remember the statistics. Acquiring a new customer costs you 5 to 7 times more as compared to retaining the existing customer. That's why we should focus on certain kind of measures to increase the customer retention rate through having certain kind of loyalty programs or maybe certain kind of rewards we are going to give the customers, or we are just going to have certain kind of specific investment in the CRM software, customer relationship management software, and also try to reduce the discount rate. This is the way in which we can increase the customer lifetime value. And whenever we want to acquire a new customer, if my customer lifetime value of a potential customer, I will just subtract the acquisition cost. I will just calculate the customer lifetime value of the potential customer. If this particular figure is coming as positive, definitely I will go for acquiring that particular customer. As simple as that. So this is all from my side. The last thing is, this is not my statement, this is a statement by Steve Jobs. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't let the noise of others' opinion drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. So my best wishes to all those people who are really having some idea, those who are really are there in some of the stages of developing their startups. My best wishes are also to them, those who are having some successful startups, they are planning to go for a next startup or next idea. And I'm sure by just disseminating a little bit of this knowledge, I'm sure that you must have got some insight about the marketing aspect or the business model aspect of your entrepreneurial venture. Thank you so much.
Before we begin with the Q&A, here is the session code for the feedback form. The session code is PATENT in capital letters. I repeat, the session code for the feedback form is PATENT. PATENT. The link for the feedback form will be shared at around 12:45 p.m. Now we begin with the Q&A session. We request the participants to kindly post your questions and queries in the chat section.
Participants, any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, please.
Very good afternoon to you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, it was very informative session. I don't think anybody might have any question, but I have a little bit of this inquisitiveness regarding the IPR, because you said that regarding the competition matrix, we have this direct potential threat from the big players.
Yeah.
And it will be always there, and it is growing with an alarming rate, like we have seen with the WhatsApp acquiry by this Facebook and Snapdeal by the big players. So, does this IPR come in a way to rescue the small entrepreneurs for some time?
Yeah, fine. Actually, what happens is once you are going for any kind of patent, unique idea, you have come up with certain kind of prototype, and then you have applied for a patent. It's perfect. It's a kind of perfect way to protect that specific idea for certain time. And that's why companies are going to invest in R&D. Otherwise, no one is going to do these kind of specific steps of coming up with an entrepreneurial venture or something like that. So what you can do is, through patenting that particular idea, you can just secure your position for certain time period. Right? That patent is also having certain kind of expiry date. So you can protect yourself for the coming 5 years, or maybe down the line coming 2 years or 3 years. But after that, those players who are there in the market, if they are going to come up in your territory, you will be out of the market. Am I clear?
Yes, thank you very much. One more thing is, you also said that we should never put all our eggs in the same basket, and we should have multiple strategies and multiple ideas simultaneously in our head, so that we can prosper. But is that much agility possible? Because it is not like we can have the ideas day by day, and we can implement those ideas as well.
That's why I said you should have a networking. Start building the network. Start building the network. Choose as many people as you can, like-minded people. Have a team, and start working on multiple ideas. Don't think that one idea is going to be successful, then the next idea is also going to give you the similar kind of success in future. Or what is working for now as a success mantra for one of the idea, maybe the kind of same thing is going to work for the coming future. So you need to continuously revive for the existing business, and parallelly you should also think of not only in terms of new idea, you also think in terms of how to do the expansion of the business. As I'm giving you the example of Uber, if they are only in the business of this kind of taxi food service or something like that, they could have been drastically failed in this scenario of COVID-19. But somehow they have managed because they have not put all the eggs in one basket. Once they have realized that they have earned a brand name like Uber, they have come up or they have, you can say, extended themselves into the food market as well. So they have come up with a specific app for Uber Eats. And Uber Eats has really helped them in sustaining their position during this COVID-19 situation.
Yes.
See, what happens is whenever you make yourself aware in the market, okay, you become known. Once you become known, you try to leverage that brand equity because that brand equity is not for free. आपने देखा होगा ना बिग बाजार में जाते हैं. You just look at 5 years back, there was nothing which is coming under the name of Big Bazaar. Big Bazaar has become a brand name. What they are doing is they are looking into those specific production houses which are not utilizing the capacity in the fullest manner. So they are just looking into those specific production houses to make some products for them, and then those products they are selling in the name of Big Bazaar. तो वो लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं कि जो जेनेरिक प्रोडक्ट है और जो एक नेशनल ब्रांड है उसके इन बिटवीन आप प्राइस फिक्स करो, एंड नाउ द कस्टमर थिंक बिग बाजार एज अ ब्रांड, दे आर रिलाइंग ऑन इट, दे आर सेलिंग इट.
Yes, sir.
So once you have become a national market player, you are also having certain kind of specific competition from this private level branding, which is really going to dilute certain market share. So that we should be really, really careful.
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. I just request you to switch on your video so that we can just have one-to-one interaction with you. Thank you so much, sir. Myself, Dr. Bhavna Sharma. Sir, one question from my side. Sir, can you share some mistakes which most of the budding entrepreneurs make while preparing the business plan or POC?
The most common mistake that most of these entrepreneurs are making is in terms of doing the careful marketing homework. They are just focusing or having a very, you can say, internal perspective only based on the kind of product or the service that they are going to come up with. And majority of the students are just thinking on developing some app or something like that. That really is of no use. That really is of no use when they maybe try it in the market. And then they will get frustration. So whenever an idea comes up, it should be tested in the market. The feasibility has to be tested. Not only in terms of the cost and benefit, but also in terms of the acceptability by the market.
Okay, thank you, sir. Because most of the budding entrepreneurs, their business fails at the starting. So they get
the businesses fail, and even you can talk about the big companies like BMW. BMW has also come up recently with the model i10 that they call it as BMW i10. And in that, what they did is they have come up with 700 control functions. Because what they did is they have made certain kind of car which is really good for the lap setting, not for the road setting. Because as a driver, you should be also be vigilant what is going on the road. They are not going to utilize that 700 control function. So even the big brand fails. So there are success story as well as the failure story. So the ultimate thing is we should not break the existing habits of the customer. We should make our product in such a manner so that it will become as a habit of the customer. That's the most important part we should think of whenever we are having any kind of entrepreneurial or any kind of business idea.
Thank you so much.
Yes, plus there are certain things which are external.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
For example, sir.
Sir, I'm adding to your point that there are certain things which are not in my control, in the control of an entrepreneur, which are external, which are environment, in the environment. So how can we minimize the dependence on the external while doing the SWOT analysis? How can we minimize the dependence on the external things?
Like in the business framework also, I have discussed about the key partners.
Yes.
I have to, so if you remember, like you must have knowing the name Reliance. Okay, so now Reliance, if you talk about specifically for Mukesh Ambani, we can just see now their key partner is the government. Their key partner is now the government. So that's how they can minimize all those unsystematic risks which are there in the market. The government is going to help them. Whether it is in terms of increasing the market share of Jio by just making it compulsory for the railway employees to switch over from Reliance to Jio. And second thing is promoting that specific Jio phone in a multiple platforms. And that's how if you are having a specific idea of political lobbying with the government, definitely you can minimize the risk for the future. Certain times, if it is not possible with the government, like for example, we have discussed the case of Uber, we are also taking the citizens as well as the local authorities of the city as our key partners. Because of if they are there with us, then only we are going to be successful. And other thing is, we always try to utilize our strength to exploit the opportunities and to minimize the threat. And that's why, as a startup, we want to utilize the intellect of my friends as well as certain people who can join from outside, whom I don't know, but they really like my idea and they want to join my team. So this is what you can just minimize the risk of those specific things which are not in your control.
Yes, sir. Definitely, you have made a very bold statement, but that is only possible with the big fishes. And the small entrepreneur cannot control those things.
For example, small entrepreneurs, we can talk about, you take this example of art. Okay, they have just started the business from Bangalore by just selling the books. They have just a contact with one of the bookseller, that is a specific bookseller which is having plenty of books. They used to get the orders over their own phones, and then they are making that particular book courier to the different people who is ordering them over phone. Later on, they have come up on the website, and then this particular workforce has increased over a period of time, and now you can just see the portfolio of the card. So it starts with a very simple idea. Over a period of time, you need to also take support from plenty of other people who can support you direct or indirectly. And when the business flourishes, then definitely plenty of people are there who are going to join hands with you, who are going to ask those kind of specific partnership with you. Like there is a specific thing which is going on right now. Jio has completely moved towards buying these things from Future Retail. Now Amazon is also looking into this, and they are also asking the Jio to get certain kind of partnership in that particular venture.
Exactly. You told about the big bazaar, but that will be acquired soon by this Reliance as well. We had this Flipkart as
Parallel competition of Amazon and Walmart, and everyone is going to capture certain specific market share. So we need to take certain kind of specific actions on the right time. Like talk about Amazon, why they are interested in Jio, the similar reason, so that they can also have their footprint in the retail market. Because if Jio is going to capture, then definitely over a period of time they will be out of the market.
Any questions, participants? The session was very interactive, sir. Very nice. I request Sanjana to kindly proceed.
Yes, ma'am. An announcement for our participants. The link of the feedback form has been shared in the chat section. I request the host to share the slide on the screen with the session code 2.
kindly share the link again. Kindly share it.
Any other question, or can I leave the meeting now?
Sanjana, call her for vote of thanks.
Yes, ma'am. I guess that's all about the Q&A. And now I call Miss Amina Khan to present the formal vote of thanks.
A very good afternoon to everyone. Myself, Amna Khan, PhD scholar in the Department of Electronics and Communication from Sri Mata Vaishno Devi University. I would like to take this opportunity to place on record my gratitude on one-week short-term course sponsored by PQ3 on entrepreneurship, a way of thinking, which is jointly organized by Startup Cell, Government College of Engineering Technology, Jammu, and Sri Mata Vaishno Devi University, Katra. Firstly, I would like to present my vote of thanks on the behalf of the entire management team to Dr. Arun Kumar sir for his efforts towards journey from idea to product role of marketing. Thank you, sir, for sparing your precious time for providing valuable session that is really helpful to empower new generation ideas and thoughts. And thank you, sir, for giving examples of Mansukh Bhai Patel, Dadaji, Chintakan PC Mustafa, Jyoti Reddy. These people come from very poor background and these are not so much educated but achieve great heights, which is really inspiration and motivation to our generation. I also extend my thanks to Dr. Sachin Kumar Gupta sir, Dr. Vijay Kumar Sharma sir, Dr. Bhavna Sharma ma'am, and Ms. Sheetal Gangotra ma'am for their enormous cooperation in the organization of this event. Finally, I would like to thank all the participants for lending patient ear to the valuable words of our honorable speaker, Dr. Arun Kumar sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And please convey my thanks to Dr. Vijay Sharma also.
As shared by the Sheetal ma'am. Thank you all. Hope to see you again in the afternoon meeting.
एक काम करो, लिंक तो यही रहेगा मेरा व्हाट्सएप, अभी अभी वाला जो लिंक है ना